Hello and welcome back. Strix Firemine here with a look at the new blocks with the contact update. Doing a thing that I'm sure all of us do when new blocks come out, just throwing a bunch of things together and testing it out. Uh, this is my test ship that I've built. It's got two of the prototype thrusters for drive and two of them for reverse. Bunch of regular ion thrusters for all the other directions. I have eight, excuse me, I have eight prototype batteries on here, which were intended to be my primary power, but I decided to throw some other power options on here for comparison and testing. I also have four of the prototype jump drives, just because I was wondering how far I could get this to jump. Uh, Pretty far, actually. I think these are 500 kilometers apiece, is what they can do, depending on the mass of your ship. This thing's capable of jumping 1,600 kilometers. For a small grid ship, that's amazing. It has two prototype gyroscopes on here, and five of the new modular cargo containers. And I put the new inset connector on the bottom, which I'll get back to talking about those uh, after the first little trip that we do. And the new DLC parabolic antenna, which the more I'm looking at it and the more I'm using it in this stuff, the more I'm liking it. So go ahead and turn on just my normal batteries. This is four regular batteries, a grand total of 16 megawatts of power that they can give with all four of them. And to use just two of these thrusters is 60% of that power. So these things are very power hungry. Like I've got six sideways thrusters, regular small ions. That's 8% of my power versus 60% for two of those prototype thrusters. Uh, Again, that's just four regular batteries. I also have 28 uh, small warfare reactors, or small reactors. It's all the same math. And that's 14 megawatts. So 69% of the power used just for two of those prototype thrusters. And with the eight prototype batteries, which do have a lower output than normal batteries. The normal battery has 4 megawatts per. The prototype has 2.8 megawatts per. So you may have to use more of them. That being said, it has a much better uh, input rate, so it charges faster. And it also has twice the storage potential of the normal batteries. So these go a long way. And just having those eight, that's 43% of my power to use those two prototype thrusters. So I actually really like those prototype batteries. And I don't think they're terribly expensive overall in the grand scheme of things. Just going to need some scrap and one frame for each battery. That being said, the prototype blocks, whether it's large grid or small grid, only need one frame to place. And that's the rare item that you can't craft. So I'm going to be very interested to jump into this and see how much I can do with just finding an assembler somewhere and scrapping out everything else I find and scrounging every bit of frames that I find in the world and just building my own prototype refinery and assembler, my own, or, blah, words, my own prototype factory. There we go. But like I said, I've got 4 jump drives on here, and there were other things to test in this other than just seeing how this was going to handle power-wise and everything. Some of the things that I wanted to test included the connectors, the new Inset Connector we got, things like that. But herein lies another problem. So, charging up these jump drives, I now have every power source on this ship is turned on. Every single one of them. And I'm still pegged while charging these jump drives. Or, I don't know why I'm going to battery. I need to go to jump drive. And that's going to take 7 minutes to charge those. But anyway, let's see. Where was my asteroid? Guess I do have to turn on my GPS. Oh, it put me a ways off from it, didn't it? Why did it put me so far off from it? Let me look at my jump drives. Those were set to take me straight there. Fascinating. I had done this a couple of times and it worked fine. I have no clue why it dumped me off partway there. Oh, never mind. Yeah, I do. There is actually extra weight in here now because I put 125 liters into each of those 28 reactors. So just like with I was saying earlier, it is based on the mass of your ship how far they'll jump. So I have to wait for that charge and then I'll be able to finish this trip. In any case, I can at least turn on my running lights while I'm here in flight. I don't know why I threw them on there. I've just gotten that used to putting them on. But I totally threw them on there. These new blocks do look absolutely beautiful. I also put floodlights on here, and that's something else I wanted to test and show the results of my tests from these small grid floodlights. I like building my mining ships, and I'm always looking for new ways to do lighting for mining ships and such, and these are absolutely wonderful in my opinion, and you'll see exactly why I say that as soon as we can make it to the asteroid test site. The other thing I was wanting to do with this ship is these 2 prototype gyroscopes are too much for the empty ship. Technically speaking, one of those is too much for the empty ship. This thing is really touchy. All of my gentle turning, that's because I have a gentle hand when it comes to controlling my mouse. Alright, let me just go ahead and this is way too fast. That's going to wind up causing lots of issues. Running into things, and that's just not good for anyone. So I'm wondering how well those 2 are going to work when this is full, which I suppose I can test while we're in flight, actually, because I am in creative mode. I can just get 100,000 gold? That should be nice and heavy, so shift F10. Our Yeah, 100,000. Gold ore. Okay, everything is supposed to be relative, and that did not work. I guess go ahead and stop this for now. It's still charging those jump drives. 4 minutes. So the acceleration that you're seeing, that is all while it's still trying to charge those up, and it doesn't have enough power to do that and everything else. So all possible components dumped in. Let's test our cargo. We could do a bit more. So let's just go ahead and do that once more. Everything I can throw in is thrown in. So this is very full right now. And that's still very fast. So let's go ahead and turn off one of those gyroscopes. Turn off number 2. So yeah, with these new modular cargo containers, I would absolutely say if you're doing 5 or 6 of them, I have 5 here. If you're doing 5 or 6 of them, you only need one prototype gyroscope. So me putting 2 on here was just absolute overkill and ridiculous. If you're doing large cargo containers, on the other hand, 2 of them could be useful. But I don't see you needing more than 2 of these on a ship. And as far as regular parts goes, this is very cheap. Prototech parts, don't know yet. Still need to look at the assembler. So I need these jump drives to finish charging. Because I have one of those set up, but I haven't looked at that yet. I did a lot of testing on the small grid, but not a lot on the large grid. I also want to see what the full acceleration is when I have full power to be able to put to these thrusters while the ship is full. Because that's very important to know. How well are those going to work still? And I'm sure they're going to be amazing, but I just want to check. Curiosity. That's what this video is all about. It's getting there, 30 seconds. As soon as that finishes charging, I will turn off everything except for my prototype batteries, because that's all the power I really need on this at all. And we'll see how long it takes to peg the vanilla speed limit of 100 meters per second. I didn't put any speed mods on here. I just put build info and little basic things like that on. Shouldn't you be completed now? Yeah, 0 seconds. Alright, there we go. 7, 8 to turn those off. Alright. So, hitting the gas now. "16 seconds to get to 50. 24 seconds to get to 100 meters per second. And that's carrying every single cargo, or everything that can hold cargo in this is full of gold right now. So that's as heavy as this thing can be. I would say that's pretty nice. That being said, I do not want to be jumping to where I'm going, moving at full speed. Another thing I noticed about this particular cockpit, which has made me very much like it, it's made to match up perfectly with the 2x1 slopes, to where it winds up just being a window poking out of the armor. That's very nice. I think I'm going to try building a ship around having this cockpit. So starting at the cockpit, building that out to look nice, and seeing where it goes from there. Probably a miner ship, because I need a good mining ship in my next series. But let's go ahead and finish this jump, number 6. Okay, what's going on with my jump drives? Are those turned down or something? No. No, they are not turned down. That is as far as I can jump. So I will go ahead and do this jump one more time. Look at this nice animation. Really like the sounds on that too. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and I'll bring it back whenever I'm actually able to make it to the asteroid, since, yeah, this thing got real heavy, real hard to jump. Okay, final jump. Because it's only half of what I can do while I'm fully loaded in this thing. And so pretty. Probably don't want to have that much speed put onto it, but that's what I did. And because of that, I'm going right past where I was aiming for. These prototype thrusters are quite powerful. Alright, so typically when we're out flying around, we'll find asteroids with interesting natural little holes in them, and for a lot of us, it's really hard to fight the temptation of going in to explore that. Come on, slow down just a little bit so I can come in here. I am very full right now, but it's really hard to do so with the typical lighting conditions that we have and lighting options. And unfortunately it is a DLC block, but if you don't mind giving them the $5, €5, whatever it winds up being in your local area, this is a great lighting option. These floodlights. It is absolutely pitch black in here without them, other than of course my flashing lights. But yeah, with these floodlights, all angled in different directions, it lights up the entirety of the interior here, so I can actually see what is going on. And just cruise up a little further, and we'll be seeing something. And here is another little test I was running, and that was on the connectors, which I said before we would come back to. Come on, stop your sideways drift. I don't trust you. Slow is fast in space engineers, ladies and gentlemen. Slow is fast. But here we go. Before I connect this and move on, let's just go ahead and talk a little bit about the new connectors, which we all got. The small grid. Typically the small grid connector only has, or it has connections on all four sides, yeah. And so does this one, all four sides. It still has its connections. I don't do airtight small grids, but if you do, this looks like it should be capable of doing that. And I know that the large grid is. And for the large grid, the normal large grid connector, come on, it just has the one connection point opposite the connector itself and no other side points. The new Inset connector, though, still has the opposite side connector, but has one side connector on it. That's going to be really awesome for those of us who are building things in all kinds of directions at all times. Makes it a lot easier to get all of that in a smaller block space. And because this is airtight, it allows us to build smaller form hangars that are airtight. Go ahead and lock that up. Okay, never mind. Leaving those on. It's really dark in here without them. Let's just close this door again. And we'll see that this is all nice and pressurized in here. Really like the looks of the Prototech batteries. It's a very nice looking block. Same with the parabolic antenna. Very small. If I didn't fly over here and point it out, it would have probably been very hard for anyone to even notice it was there. But yeah, we're fully pressurized in here. So if that wasn't an airtight block, we wouldn't be. So that's nice. Nice new little gates here. I like those. They'll be nice for building airlocks and such. And this monstrosity is simply to test out some things I had questions about with some of the large grid, like the Prototech Refinery. How fast is it actually? So I've got those turned off right now, and 4 large grid cargo containers. I'm going to get those mostly full, and then see how fast the Prototech refineries can cut those down. I also wanted to take a peek real fast at the Prototech assembler since I'm over here. I did know that they could only make the Prototech parts, so I do have on this mess of a ship also an industrial assembler. Anyway, how much do these different parts cost as far as scrap goes? Because that's what you need Prototech wise. So let's just put that there. So iron, silicon, silver, gold. Most of these appear to be pretty much the same thing. The panel is using magnesium. So yeah, pretty similar overall. The difference is in scrap amounts to make each thing. The panel doesn't even need scrap, actually, but 1.5 scrap. And curiously, I'm in creative, so I can't even remember if this works, but if I throw down a gyroscope here and I grind it, do I get the parts from it to see that, what kind of scrap I get? I do not. Okay, so that's something I'll have to test later. For now, I'll just go ahead and get rid of that. In any case, I did, while I was flying around, spot some gold, and that'll be a good thing to test. For driving force, this has uh, either 2 or 1 of the prototype thrusters in each direction, and a total of 6 of the prototype gyros. That is the most nimble I've ever felt any large grid. And it's pretty quick too, so let's turn that off, turn this on, so I can come around and test my drills. Right over here. I didn't put any lights facing outward on this. That is a failing on my part, because this is going to be difficult to see. I also didn't put my block tools down here. Oh wait, yeah I did. They just look weird to me. Okay. So I have build info and build vision both on. I'm pretty sure it's build info that lets me know. So I'll be able to see the inventory of the ship below me here. See if I can get a better view of those working. My goodness, that's just eating right into it. Nom nom nom. Okay, so there's a bunch of gold, and I'm also just going to go ahead and fill as much as I can with stone too. I know stone does cut faster than any kind of ore, but I am fine with that. It still helps me understand a bit more about how fast these refineries are. And then technically to be able to switch myself into survival wouldn't be that difficult, but it would immediately end my video. I think overall I need to choose different shortcuts for starting and stopping my recording. But the problem is I do so many different games, it's difficult. Because whatever I choose, it's going to mess with some game. I guess there's also profiles I could set up for that. Anyway. I want to actually get a look at that hole real fast, because it feels like it's a giant hole. Oh, I did have my light on. It is a giant hole. Not very deep though, because, you know, I can only go a little deeper than the drills are long, and they are pretty big, but still didn't give myself much room for getting into things. In any case, let's check those cargo holds. Oh yeah. I've got almost 3 million stone and a bunch of gold. And let's throw bunch more gold in. I should be able to throw that in there. Oh, I threw it into one that was already full, didn't I? That doesn't work so good. So let's throw it down here. Alright, so refineries on. And let's see how fast they get through all of that. Which cargo container are they pulling from? Looks like they're pulling from cargo container 3. Yeah. They are getting a lot of materials out of that stone. So that'll be fun to see. I'm going to go ahead and pause this up. I'll let you know roughly how long it took when I bring this back. So see you then. Alright, so it just finished doing all of those cargo containers worth of stuff. That's what I got out of it. A little over 3 million stone turned into 219,000 iron, bunch of silicon, nickel, and gravel. It was a little more than 300,000, like 301,000 gold, turned into 5.86k ingots. So that's overall really nice. it did the stone very quickly. That took about 20 minutes. The gold, however, took about an hour, which I expected that. That being said, it felt like it was faster than 2 refineries with 4 speed modules on there, and the amount of yield is very much 2 refineries with 4 yield modules. And yeah, that's an hour and 20 minutes that I was just sitting there waiting for that to finish. Wow, this thing is pretty quick. These prototype thrusters are amazing. In any case, these will absolutely replace a refinery. That being said, if you're playing on the normal settings, which is what I am, I believe it's ×3 refinery efficiency, and it still took that long. So obviously you want more than 2. So you're still going to be building larger refinery areas. That being said, the block itself is overall, considering you don't need modules for it at all, smaller. So if you can get all the things that you need for this, and it's not a little bit, 10 Prototech machinery, 5 Prototech cooling, 300 Prototech panels, another 375 Prototech panels. It's not cheap, but if you can get multiples of those, you can build a decent refinery setup and actually cut through things very quickly and not need to waste any extra materials on any modules at all, materials or space. And that's pretty nice. The only 2 connectors on this are on the back, and I have conveyors connected to both of those. But yeah, there are a lot of blocks added in this that I am very much looking forward to using in my series that's coming up soon. Not sure how many of them are the Prototech, because these are in-game stuff, but I'm definitely looking forward to eventually being able to play with these. In any case, if you learned anything today or enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit the like button down below. And if you're wanting to see what I'm getting up to next time, there's always a subscribe button. Until next time, have a good one.